the school. We look forward to this afternoon's session. It's one of the areas that I think is very important in our line structure, but sometimes we don't pay enough attention to it. So this evening's presentation will give us a refresher's course, and for those who don't know, a lot to learn. So we look forward to what our presenter has to say. So Lions, today's session will be presented by Lion Sonia Harding. She is the secretary at the North St. Catherine Lions Club in Region 1. And I have a soft spot for her. First of all, she's about my height. And I read a quotation from A Midsummer's Night written by William Shakespeare, and it says, "And though she be but little, she is fierce." So we have fierce Sonia Harding with us this evening. And she has been a member of the Lions Club of North St. Catherine since 2016. She has been a secretary from that time and has won a number of secretarial awards. Presently, she is the Associate District Coordinator for Region 1 in the area of cancer awareness and action. I see Lion Sonia when I go to visit them over in North St. Catherine before the pandemic when we could, and she was always a lion of action. So I really know that she has a lot of experience, although she has not held the position as Tamer, but she carries out those responsibilities in her club on numerous occasions. So Lions and Leos, I take this opportunity of turning over now to Lion Sonia. Thank you.
Thank you, Lion Judy. And you've given me a great get out clause. I won't say what it is yet, but thank you very much. Good afternoon, fellow Lions, Leos. Congratulations to new and returning Lions and Leos in this role. Welcome to this presentation on Lion Tamers. In this presentation, we will look at the roles and responsibilities of being a tamer. This should help you understand what resources and tools are needed, as well as the knowledge that will help you function effectively in this role. Line Chauvenet. While the screen sharing is coming up. Oh, lovely. Thank you. I think I got a little bit ahead of myself with Lion Chauvenet, with the Lion Chauvenet's help, but I do think I said everything that needed to be said. Now, we're having an icebreaker. And as Lions, you know, and people generally, we've heard a lot about space travel and living in space. So I'm asking you to imagine that as a lion, you know, you're living on a space station in the not too distant future. There's a Lions Club and you're at a meeting. All of a sudden, you have to evacuate because there's a malfunction. What I'm asking you as Lions to do for me is to take 5 items from your club. Yeah? And please, in the chat or on a piece of paper, write the 5 items and why you chose those 5. And we have 2 minutes to do this. So Lions, you know, in the not so distant future, we're on a space station and you need to take 5 items because you've got to evacuate because of a malfunction. Is there some interesting things in the chat line, Judy?
They haven't started talking yet, Lion Sonia. One person just said something that was very funny. She said she would have to take herself to the space station.
No, Lions, you're already there. You know, it's not so far away. And we've got Elon Musk and we've got Virgin wanting to set up these things for us to go and live and work on. So, you know, think of a Lions Club being there. Yeah, we're global enough to have presence.
One says the banner for historic significance.
Lovely.
Gavel and banner.
Great. Gong, gavel, banner, flag of the nation.
Charter certificate.
Yes. Vest.
Yes, you're seeing
good.
That one.
Yes. Yes. Great. I'm looking for some more. I think people are coming up with some great ideas. Treasurer's records. Yes. Yes. Money matters. Oh, great. Lions shirts. Right. Good. This looks like someone's got a little enterprise going on the space station. A pen. Lovely. Good.
Lion shirt, somebody else said.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that one. It's just good.
Yeah.
Right. I think we're coming to the back. Oh, I think somebody's put bagel, but I think they meant gavel. Gong, skirting for the head table. Great. Visitors book.
Yeah.
Great. Lovely. Gavel, right. Good. A writing pad, yes. Club banner, club charter, certificate, gong and gavel, Melvin Jones enlarged photo. That is, yes, I never thought of that one. That is a good one, yes. Smile and good
attitude.
Oh, that will take you far. It goes global. I think that is so good. Smile and do that. Don't need anything else. Lots of love. Lion Denisa, great. Lots of love. Yes, we need to take that everywhere we go. Lion Chevenet, so 2 minutes up now. You could.
I think we're not finished.
Club banner, vest, pin, pen, and people. Excuse me. All right. When I was putting this presentation together, I read Lion Judy's instructions about having a discussion and trying to make this interactive, but I couldn't think of a icebreaker, you know, in terms of relevance, and I wanted something with relevance. So this idea came up. And everyone has, everyone who's contributed in the chat has, put something up that is of relevance to the club. I've put up these items because I think they're of particular significance. The flag, your country's flag, the gong and the gavel, the attendance chart or attendance register, the charter, leaflets, flags of the nation, and what could be a booklet on with the organizational charts. And Lions, you're going to have to excuse me for a minute. Right. In terms of significance, I read when I was looking at doing this, some information about what makes a Lion meeting constitutional. And you have all the people things, but I thought, was there anything else that would need to be present? And I checked this out with a couple of senior Lions. We didn't come to a definitive answer, but I read somewhere a couple of months ago, or even a couple of weeks ago, that for a business meeting to be considered constitutional, the club's charter certificate should be present, or should be displayed. So when I came to put this together, I thought this would help. Yeah. Excuse me. All of a sudden now I've got a coughing fit. So the club charter is really of significance, and you would have a club charter on your space station. The gong and the gavel, yes, you would have. And you would have your own country flag, and you'll also have flags of the nation. So thank you very much to everyone who contributed. And I like the fact that Lions thought of grabbing people and carrying them, helping them to evacuate. Because after all, without people, what can we do? So other things that I had were an organizational chart, which is of significance, the club model chart, and someone put pen and paper. I also had the Lions tablecloth, if you had such a thing, because it's quite a nice looking design. So I thought we'd probably have one on the space station, and we would want to save it as well. So Lions, in terms of the Lion Tamer's role, we will now go into what should be your responsibilities. The responsibilities are outlined in the International Association of Lions Club Constitution and Bylaws Standard for the fiscal year. What I'm using here is from fiscal year 2018 to 2019. And one thing is that it says in section 7, the Lion Tamer, as there's an optional role that the Lion Tamer could be a member of the board of directors. Notwithstanding that, the Lion Tamer has a number of responsibilities. And these are, the Lion Tamer shall have charge of and be responsible for the property and paraphernalia of the club, including flags, banners, gongs, gavel, and pinboard. Yeah. In this role, with this set of responsibility, it could be that you're also the club's premises manager. And if your club has such a thing, or if it has a premises manager separate to the Tamer's role, you'll probably find that you are very involved in working with the premises manager. Yeah. Your other responsibilities that you shall put each in its proper place before meeting and return the same paraphernalia, items, whatever, to their proper storage area after each meeting. So you need to have identified a safe, clean storage area and make sure the items are properly stored. If you have to put the flag away, you need to make sure that it is stored respectfully. You also act as the sergeant at arms at meetings. So you see that those present are seated. You distribute leaflets and literature as required at the club and board meetings. In this sergeant at arms role, you need to have a certain knowledge of the club and the Lions Club protocols and etiquettes for meetings. And in your role as a tamer, particularly when it comes to seating arrangements. Yeah. You shall give special attention to assure that each member sits with a different group at each meeting so that he or she feels better acquainted. So here you see that you have, or you are, the relationship manager in your club. Yeah, that's a significant role for you. In addition, the tamer is a member of the official greeter. The tamer is the official greeter. You welcome all line members and guests, as well as speakers, at the meeting room door. So you're the person there giving the handshakes. Now that means a couple of things, right? And we will explore those later on. So lines. From the list, you can see that your work actually starts before a meeting takes place. When you get to the club for a meeting, during a meeting, after the meeting, and in this new COVID era, you will find that online meetings are taking place. And in this new environment of COVID restrictions and changing working patterns, you will need to consider, what your role is with online meetings. Yeah? Where clubs might want to meet in their dens, or the officers meet in their dens, and they have a Zoom meeting, you have certain responsibilities there. And those responsibilities has very much to do with the COVID regulations.
Gone down, can you please check your volume? If not, disconnect and reconnect, and establishing back the connection might give it the original sound type, because Zoom has some.
Would you kindly mute your microphone?
All right, you know what? Actually, let's try your idea. Disconnect, join by the laptop. Because sometimes.
Please mute your microphones. Go along, Sonia.
Okay, right. I was talking about the online meetings and the tamer's role. In this, the tamer has to be very aware of the COVID-19 regulations. And in terms of in-person meeting, you need to be very much aware of the space, ventilation, sanitation, and timing. And timing, not just in relation to the curfew that we're experiencing now, but also in relation to what is said about, the meeting in enclosed spaces. We need to be aware of all of those things. So, as a tamer, you need to ensure that the meeting room is prepared in advance of the start of the meeting. One of the most important things to remember in this role is timing, being on time or before time. It's not a good look to arrive for a meeting that should be in progress and the chairs are being set out. We don't seem to get a lot of complaints face to face about this because we're all guilty of this at some point, but it's not a good look. So the Lion Tamer has to keep good time and encourage members to do the same. You will see to it in your role that the flags of nation, the gong, the gavel are also properly placed at each meeting, and the club's charter is displayed. The gong and gavel is placed in front of the president. The flag is to the right of the president, with the flag hanging to the right of the pole. You can have the flags of the world, and most times when you go to functions, you will see this on display. The club banner is also displayed. And as a tamer, you need to make sure that all your accolades are displayed on the banner. It doesn't have to be you who sew them on, pin them on. You really just probably need to know somebody who will and ensure that it gets done. You will also see to it that the standard organizational chart is displayed conspicuously at each meeting. Yeah. The organizational chart actually outlines the club's governance, management, communication between the club and Lions Club International. Yeah. Visitors see this and they know the links, of which you're a part. Yeah, they see you're part of a major global organization. It is also a good idea to have the model club chart on display, as this shows the officers' roles in your club, and it really it becomes a good discussion point for visitors and for prospective members who are wanting to know about the club and, in a way, what's going on in the club. Because just by going through some of those roles, you actually can describe what is taking place in the club. You need to have a register at, for the club, and this is taken out at each meeting, and you need to make a note of the contact details of each guest. This information you would pass to the membership committee as well as to the secretary. The registration of Lions and guests is really an important one. And you need to do this really because the club attendance record, you can actually cross-tabulate with the secretary, in terms of Lions attendance. It's also useful, in terms of fire regulations. And this builds up a file of contacts for future events, funding projects. And also, if you want to have a Lions meeting, you have to hand contact information straight away rather than probably relying on a Lion contact, which might not always be there. So an attendance register is really an important piece of your kit, really. Right. You need to give special attention to ensure that new members sit with a different group at each meeting so that, they can become better acquainted with the membership in general. Now, this is probably easily said, but not so easily done. although it's an excellent way for new Lions and members to get to know each other. Yeah. So you can see, Lions, that in your role as a relationship builder in the club, you know, you need to be on this. You need to foster networking. So you yourself probably would need to kind of pull out your networking skills and bring them to the fore. You need to break up cliques, or, you know, have an awareness of the nonverbal communications going on in the club. You have to be very aware of the relationships in the club, and you would work with the president and the secretary and Lion sponsors to make sure that members are integrated well, they're integrated and they feel welcome in the club. Because, you know, if you don't feel welcome, you, in a way, don't participate, and the club experience problems. So you're one of the arch networkers in your club, and you're the relationship builder as well. Yeah. You, in your role, will distribute leaflets and literature as required at the club and board meetings. For this, you would work with the president and with the secretary. So you need to be in communication with the secretary and with the president before meetings. If there are leaflets to be sourced, you know, you would probably be able to help with that. But at meetings, when, you know, you're greeting people coming through the door, you know, you can be handing out leaflets, particularly ones that might need to be read before a meeting is started. Right. When you have your meeting and all the paraphernalia that is needed to ensure constitutionality of the meeting is out, at the end of the meeting, these items need to be returned. Now, it is the Tamer's role to make sure that they're returned safely. But you will see from your job description that, you know, you will probably have quite a lot to do at the end of a meeting. So you could always co-opt a member to help you with putting away these items to make sure that they are safely stored away. But it is your responsibility to make sure they are stored away properly. Yeah. But at the end of a meeting, you're going to find that you might need to speak to the membership, well, one of the membership committee, or you might still be talking to guests, or you might have to talk to the secretary about you know, sharing information on attendance. So it's really important that you probably get help with this particular message. And in view of the COVID regulations that we have now, where in-person meetings and Zoom meetings are, sorry, not well, we wouldn't be considering that in Zoom meeting, but in-person meetings where time is of the essence, it would be good to get help with this one. Right. You may find that in your club, you're responsible for refreshments at general meetings. Yeah. Not all clubs will probably do this, but some clubs do, and you're in the firing line for this particular duty. As such, again, you would need to know numbers, you would need to know the preference of your line members, and timing and quantity is actually quite important. So you see that before the meeting starts, you're engaged in some pre-planning to make sure the meeting runs smoothly and everyone's happy. Yeah. Right. As your club's protocol officer, it's your duty to always welcome and introduce guests and see that seats are provided for all attendees. Now, the protocol officer makes sure that the proper etiquette of the club, is maintained with visiting dignitaries and important persons. Your role really is to eliminate any confusion. So you need to know the proper protocol. And I'm going to say in particular, the seating arrangements. The seating arrangements, as it refers to when you have a visit from the zone chair, a visit from the region chair, or from the district. I wouldn't hold my hand up to saying I know quite clearly what the seating arrangements are. And I thank Lion Judy for giving me the let out in the introduction. But what I will say is that the global leadership team has an excellent YouTube video on Lion's protocol. The session presented by Lion Isaac and another Lion, senior Lion, I've really forgotten his name, but it's an excellent session that not only Lion Tamers should have a look at, but every other Lion. The YouTube it's also on the district website. But if you type in your browser Lion's protocol and from District 60B, it should come up. Also, you will find a lot of information on the website about protocol sessions, and some are very diagrammatic in terms of table seating arrangements. Seating arrangements as it refers to having a head table with a podium, no head table, circular tables. Yeah, the numbering and the relationships are quite clear, but I won't go through them here. As a Tamer, you are an official member of the Greeter Committee, and as such, you would assist the president in the discharge of these duties. And this again is where knowing, what the protocols are is really important. Seating, how members are, how dignitaries are introduced. And as a Tamer, I really think that probably to help us in our clubs, this could be a learning exercise, because it is one of the challenges in clubs that when visiting dignitaries come, people always have to remind themselves of who goes first. So this is something that we could probably look at in a club discussion session. At the start of each fiscal year, the club actually prepares a budget, and the Tamer should actually prepare their own small budget. You should really have a budget line in the larger, an item line in the larger scheme of things. Because if you are responsible for refreshments, and if you are, responsible for raffles and other things, you actually need to have a budget, or have it acknowledged that these things come at a cost. It might be that they are done, and they are done in a way that sustain themselves, but you should think about your contribution to the budget. If you are a member of the board of directors, then you can argue your point quite clearly. Otherwise, you need to make have help in getting your budget items onto the budget. Right. As a tamer, and part of your responsibilities in ensuring that the property of the club, is properly looked after, you need to ensure that you carry out an inventory of the club's paraphernalia assets, and this is done at the end of each fiscal year for submission to the next Lion Tamer and the board of directors. Yeah, you should throughout the year keep a list of items that come into the club, as well as items that are probably discarded, because when you actually come to do your inventory, it saves you searching around for something that everyone knew we had at a particular point, but is not there anymore. So whilst you do the budget at the end of the fiscal year, you should maintain, a register for items coming in and leaving the club. Lions, I know I've gone through this in some time, but I'd like us to just think about something for a short while. In the last year, we've experienced quite some change in our working environment and in our working practices, and the Lions clubs have not been kind of outside of this. As Lion Tamers, with some of what I've spoken to you about, these things are actually set and would have easily happened pre-2020. But we're now in a new environment, and one where we have meetings online, where we may have meetings set up in person in our dens or whatever premises we use. And these meetings, sometimes it might be just the officers meeting and you have a Zoom meeting, other members join on Zoom. What I'd like us to consider is, how this would affect your role as a Lion Tamer. And it would be interesting if the Lions who have been Lions, or who have been Tamers this year, could say, what they haven't been able to do or what they have done differently. But, this gives us the opportunity to just share with each other some of what or the changes have been. So I'm going to ask if you can contribute in the chat to this discussion.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Lion Steve.
Yeah, I'm not the tamer, but I must say that perhaps, with the new dispensation this year, clubs could look at some of the money that you had allocated for taming. You could actually use it towards paying for a proper license for your Zoom account. So you could have your unlimited meetings, instead of using it like a free one where it stops every 40 minutes, saying everybody stop and join and stop and join. So, you know, you'd have good meetings in lieu of your taming.
Yes, yes, good. That's a good suggestion. I think
You
everyone's
pay like about
listening.
$14, $15 US a month, so, you know.
Right. Good. I think that's an excellent suggestion for those clubs that can afford it, because it looks so good when you have a meeting, and you know, probably the officers are at one place, and the members can then chip in. And if you're in premises where you have access to the internet, I think it probably sometimes add to the value of that place and what you can do with it. Any other suggestion lines?
Hello, good night. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was Tamer last year, and I'm Tamer again this year, and I realized that a lot of persons avoid the position because the whole hectic it is sometimes you have to get the club early, and then sometimes you leave club. You're the last person to leave club because you have to pack up and put everything back to where it was. So a lot of persons usually avoid the position. And one of the things I realize is that sometimes people look at the team as a cleaner, because persons might just be rushing out and something drop on the ground and they say, okay, the team is responsible for it. Then he's going to make sure that it's clean afterwards. So it's just to note to persons coming in as tamer that other persons in the club is their part also to help you. If there are a lot of tables and chairs that need setting up or packing up on evenings, that person should stop back and help the team as much as possible. Don't leave everything at one person to do everything.
Thank you for that observation, and it's probably experienced in other clubs. So any lines would like to comment on that or come up with a suggestion for dealing with that particular scenario?
Lansonia?
Yes, Line Judy.
My club is unique because when we used to meet face to face, we ate at every meeting, a full meal at every meeting. So we had to establish a tamer committee. So we had not official positions, of course, but the tamer would have a group of persons to work with. So we would get some help from those people at the end of the meeting to clear up, to take the things downstairs, pack them away in the cars for those things that go off property and so on. So that helped a bit.
Well, listening to the previous line, I've missed his name, I actually thought that a committee would be a really useful group to have. Excuse me again. Because there is really, in terms of meetings, so much that the tamer has to do, and you really can't do all of it to the best of your ability at any time at all, and not find yourself having, as the previous line said, having to come in early and leaving late, and you know, you're the watchman and you're the cleaner, that kind of thing. So, but having a group that would help, you know, in terms of what some of the responsibilities, they're giving out of the leaflets, they're putting away of items. And, you know, if you don't have a caretaker, you know, making sure that, you know, you probably have a rota for emptying the bins, you know, before a meeting, so that when you come back, at least, you know the bins are empty. So I think that's an excellent suggestion. If, you know, in clubs where, you know, the Lion Tamer's duties is becoming or could become onerous just being on one person. Other suggestions, Lions? I'm sure there's lots.
Good evening, Lion Sonia.
Good evening, sir.
It's Lion Levy from Barstow St. Kitts Lions Club.
Okay.
The discussion tonight has been very, very informative for me, especially as I have been holding the Tamer position for about 4 to 3 years now.
Okay.
I'll admit I had once or twice, due to the fact I'm self-employed, I got the meetings to set up flags while meeting is going on. But that was just about once or twice. I have always tried my best to be early. And you know, listening to your presentation this evening, personally, I had never know that the Tamer had so many responsibilities. You know, like I said, I've been holding that position for about 3 to 4 years now. Especially through the pandemic last year. You know, we couldn't get to change over much things.
Yes.
And I must say, I think we take the Tamer for granted. That with all those positions that took responsibilities that you mentioned, you know, I must say, it is an eye opener. I guess I can say I can really pass on this information to the incoming Tamer and the others beyond.
Yes.
I really thank you for that presentation
Well,
this evening.
and you'll be able to make recommendations for how the Tamer could manage in the role. You know when persons are in a job and they've done it well, and they make it look easy, but when they leave and someone else takes over, the people left behind realize that that person was doing 3 people's job. So
True, that is true.
it would be good to to kind of make recommendations as to how, if you're not a board member, or even if you are a board member, make recommendations as to how the new Lions role could be kind of supportive, so it doesn't become burdensome.
Yes, I am a board member, and I can really give pass on those information. Yes, because for our club, yes, after meetings, 1 or 2 will stay back and help me get the flags and everything put together, you know, put back chairs and whatnot. While everybody rush out, you know, everybody just want to go home after a meeting. And yes, as a team, it's very frustrated sometimes, you know, we have to be the first to be there and the last to leave. Yeah, so I understand.
You're the club's timekeeper. You see, you have to be at the door. You're the club's timekeeper. Yeah, you just need to remind people that you need a couple more timekeepers with you.
I will definitely make that recommendation.
Okay.
When we have a board meeting.
Good.
Thanks again.
And Lion Judy had an excellent suggestion about a committee to just help and make sure the work is evenly shared. Even though you have responsibility, the work can be shared.
Yes, I will definitely mention that as well.
Okay, thank you.
In the chat line, Sonia, there's a question. It was noted that the Tamer should try to get new members with different groups so they can become familiar. How can Tamer attempt to achieve that, given that most persons may already have their own special groups?
Yes, I was thinking about this and how easy or how difficult it could be, because you could have members, Lions, coming to a meeting in kind of groups. They travel together. They want to sit together, and nothing on earth is going to shift them from being in, next to their pals. It's something I understand. But if it becomes the thing where the group, can become disruptive in a meeting, then the tamer can actually work with the twister to see how they can disrupt that group through humor and storytelling, or the tamer with the president, can look at exercises at the start of a meeting that just get people moving about, and when the exercise ends, they're sitting somewhere else, and you ask them to stay there for the whole of the meeting. It does take some work, and that's why I say it's more easily said than easily done. But when it happens, and the tamer has to with the president be aware of this, and if you're aware of it and you deal with it early, it doesn't become a problem. But if it's left to set, then it would, and it becomes more difficult. But I do think there are exercises and strategies that you can use, but you would probably have to do that over time. But it's very difficult to lions who travel together are always together to get them to shift in a meeting. And it could become a discussion point if you have training programs or discussion evenings. It could be discussed. I don't know if any other lion has any suggestion, if this is something they've experienced in their clubs and have had to deal with or not deal with.
Lion Sonia?
Yes, Lion Camille.
Great presentation, great presentation.
Thank you.
A lot of persons might shy away, as a speaker says, shy away from Tamer, but can I tell you that Tamer was one of my best position in the Lions Club? You know why? I enjoyed it so much. I get the members to work with me in the sense that they don't know what as a team you're coming with the next meeting. Well, everybody know Mr. They don't know what you're coming with. So it's like when, say, both of them normally sit together, and this week I said, and Sonia, is it possible to move to the front for me this night? She's not sure now because maybe I have something up the front there for her, so she's glad to go up there. She's not sure. So I mean, I didn't normally don't have problem in moving members around because they don't know what is it I'm coming with, and they don't know if they sit right there what will happen, so they just move. And as I said, working with the twist as well as the membership chair, you get to also form that little committee as well, and people will work with you better than who, well, as I said, depending on the club, will work with you. What I normally say as they come in the evening and I greet them, each person sit on a chair. As you leave, you put it back. You're not going through the door until you put back your chair. So that eliminates me fixing back the chairs. So you, the individual, just have to come up with ways and how you're going to make it work, because it can work. I enjoyed it. Whereas when I'm coming up with the menu, no, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. And I don't want persons who are going up as tamer to think that, yeah, some persons might think that they take it for granted, but I normally, when I was in the tamer, I was a friend of the tamer, because I want more food than everybody else. So I make sure I stay near to the tamer, so helping to clean up afterward was never a problem. Because a few of us, we're friends with the tamer, so we get extras. So we help to clean up afterwards. So you just have to use ways and means of getting your members to participate. And as it depends on the club.
Yes, yes.
You have some members, you don't even have to ask them anything. They just jump up.
Good, thank you. I hope Lion Levy was is listening and heard your strategy about the chairs.
Yes,
You
man.
know,
Not leaving. And to say you're the timekeeper now. You're not leaving. I'm keeping the time. You're not leaving until you pop back the chair.
Yes, I'm listening. I'm
You pop
listening.
the chair, the quicker you leave.
I'm listening. Taking notes.
oh good. Oh good. That's
And
good.
Sonia, there is something in the chat, a suggestion, and this follows on to what Lion Camille suggested about coming and having surprises for people. You can introduce seat switching nights and have surprises under the seats. That will encourage members to shift. That is to come out of their normal clique.
Yes.
And someone else says, my club created a bar chairman to help the tamer because we have an active bar. Some of us want to know which club that is so we can go there. Oh, it's Lion Jamel? That's the Barbados South, isn't it? Okay.
Right. Oh, good.
Interesting.
That is so good. That is so good. Yes. That you see, you know, just talking about some of these strategies, we all realize really that the job of a tamer, it's quite an interesting one, and it can be quite creative. Lion Camille has just demonstrated how, you know, her creativity, the creativity she took to the role to deal with all those you know, people who might just want the comfort of being next to their friend all the time, and you know, getting other lions to appreciate that the chairs are not set out by themselves, and that, you know, it's a club. Everyone comes, participate, and the things that are there need to be put back and put away, and they won't do that by themselves yet. We're not on that space station where we might have magnets that draws things into their own spaces. So, you know, until that time, we have to make sure that, you know, we put things away and we help each other while we're doing it, because everyone's time is important.
Lion Donna Freeman has her hand up, Lion Presenter. So maybe after Lion Gracelyn speaks, you could address that.
Okay. Is Lion Gracelyn?
We seem to have lost her. So it's Lion Donna now.
Hello, good evening. Wonderful presentation, Lion Sonia.
Thank you, Lion Donna.
What well in our club, whoever comes early normally will help and put the stuff, anything that have to be put up, the banner. We don't wait for the tamer if they are late or whoever comes in.
So I know who should get a problem in here.
Would you kind of microphones, mute your microphones, please, unless you're speaking.
Yes, Lion Sonia, did you understand? Did you hear me well? I was just saying what in our club is whoever comes early normally puts and help put up the stuff, and when anything is we are leaving, everybody helps. All of us leave at the same time, so we help out.
That's good. That's good. That's quite democratic. That's what we need in all the clubs. A democracy of helpers. And you don't have to bribe anyone, chivvy anyone along to do that. That's good. Line Karine is muted. She's muted. Oh.
There's another. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lion Sonia.
No, I was saying Line Karine came up, but the mic was muted.
Oh, I see. In the meantime, could I just read something else from the chat?
Yes,
Lion
please.
Walton And I know he's from one of the clubs. I think it's the Lions Club of Cayman.
Yeah, Grand Cayman.
Grand Cayman. He says, good evening. Yes, Grand Cayman Lions has a large membership, a bar, and we serve food at all meetings. Our tamer is in charge of everything. When we are meeting off-site, he calls for help with moving, setup, and breakdown. I think what this is showing, Sonia, is that sometimes we just need to ask. Maybe the tamers don't realize how receptive lions would be to helping, so they don't ask.
Yes, I think so. I think so. That's very much the kind of sentiment that's coming across. When we ask, we get help, and asking, we should do more of that. Yeah. Landry, I just like to. Someone's just written that they'll definitely be asking. I would encourage that. If you don't ask, you don't get. So please ask. Landry, I'd just like to ask how the tamers who were or who have been tamers in this administration, if they're on this platform and will be going into the new administration, how they've dealt with the new arrangements about Zoom meeting, if they have a role in this, and if they do, what that might be.
Lions, anyone who is serving at this time as a tamer and will be returning to that position. Or if you think you have any ideas that you want to share for the person who's going to be taking over from you, this is the time. Any other questions for our presenter? Okay. If there are no other questions at this time, I would like to call on Lion Maureen Garvey to move the vote of thanks. Lion Maureen, are you still on?
Yes, Lion Judy.
Go ahead, please.
Lion Judy King, Coordinator Global Leadership Team. Lion Sonia Harding, presenter for the evening. It is a pleasure for me to move the vote of thanks. Lion Sonia, thanks very much for reminding us tamers of our roles and responsibilities. Thank you for emphasizing the importance of this post. And I hope that all tamers will take these points very seriously for the enhancement of the smooth operation of the club. Thanks again, Lion Sonia. My fellow Lions, enjoy the rest of the evening and continue to stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Lion Maureen. Lion Sonia. On behalf of the leadership team, we would like to present you with the certificate of appreciation. This certificate is awarded to Lion Sonia Harding in recognition of your presentation on Club Tamer at the Incoming Officers School Virtual Edition. We want to thank you most sincerely for your session this evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lion Judy. And thank you to all the participants. I didn't think I would enjoy this session. So thank you very much for asking me, and I have enjoyed it. All the Lions in the chat, thank you so much for your contribution. And I hope we will have learned something new or remembered something we forgot.
Thank you, Lion Sonia. Lions, it was wonderful to have you here and to participate at the level that you did. We were up to 61 members, and that is good for an area such as Tamer. It is good that we had so many people because it shows that even persons who are not going to be taking on the responsibility, but who might have an interest later on, or maybe would have been encouraged by this presentation to have an interest to take on that role. Remember, Lion Camille says it has been one of the most fulfilling roles that she has had in Lionism. So maybe you should try it.